I started out by determining the maximum and minimum values of the graph, which were 20 and negative 20, and I plugged that in to determine the average value and the amplitude. Average value is maximum plus minimum divided by 2, which would be 20, plus negative 20 divided by 2, which would be 0. And then for the amplitude, it would be the maximum minus the minimum divided by 2, which would be negative 20, or 20 minus negative 20 over 2, which would give you a value of 20. And then D corresponds with the average value and A corresponds with the amplitude. Therefore, A is equal to 20 and D is equal to 0. In order to determine the horizontal shift in the period, you have to use the average value. So the average value is 0, so you kind of draw a line through the function at 0. And what that does is it tells you where the sine function is supposed to begin. So it's supposed to begin at x is equal to 5. And then you have to calculate how far away that is from the y-axis. And in order to do that, you do 5 minus 0, which would give you 5. But it's actually negative 5 because it's a shift from the left to the right, in which case it's a negative value. As for the period, since this is where you're starting, you have to calculate how long it takes you to get from here to here, which is a complete kind of cycle. So then to determine that, you would take this value minus this value, which would be 25, minus 5, which would give you a total value of 20. And then as far as B goes, you take 2 pi over P, which would be 2 pi over 20, which could be simplified to pi over 10. And then C would be the horizontal shift times D, which would be negative 5 times 0, which would give you 0. And then for your overall function, you would just plug these values in to this equation here, and you would get 20 sine of pi over 10 to the x, f of x is equal to 20 sine of pi over 10 to the x plus 0, which could be further simplified to f of x is equal to 20 sine of pi over 10x. Okay, so for part B, you have to determine the maximum and the minimum values of g of x is equal to 32 sine of 1.23x minus 5.16 minus 9. And to do that, you have to take the value of A and add it to the value of D, which would be 32 plus negative 9, which would give you a maximum value of 23. Oh my gosh. And then for the minimum value, you would take negative A